What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the single type cup with Zoroark, which shreds through Cofagrigus and Hypno, which are both fairly common in the current meta. I'm also running Shadow Sceptile, which doesn't really have any great matchups if I'm honest. It's not targeting anything specifically, but it just deals so much neutral damage with the Leaf Blade spam, and even its hard counters like Muck and Ninetales get one shot by an Earthquake. And then as the closer I'm running Shadow Banette, which will nuke pretty much anything in its path when shields are down. This is not a great team by the way, so I definitely don't recommend you build it, but I do think Zoroark has a lot of play if you choose a few safer options to pair it with. With that being said, let's get into the question of the day. What has been the most underrated Pokemon for the single type cup meta so far? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, we lead Zoroark into Cofagrigus, a great lead for us, and what I find is that a lot of people stay in initially because they don't have the best response or they just don't know what to do here. So this opponent's going to go for a charge move, they go for a Psychic, that's double resisted, although you can see that actually does quite a lot of damage. Zoroark is a very glassy Pokemon, but the opponent swaps into Dunsparce. I'm going to swap out, catching what I hope is going to be a Drill Run, which usually is the better neutral move to throw if you're running Drill Run and Rock Slide, and now I'm going to be able to go for a Leaf Blade here on the CMP tie with this Dunsparce grabbing the final shield from the opponent very early on. Now I'm going to shield up the Rock Slide, go for 4 more Bullet Seeds and go for another Leaf Blade. Now this will not be enough damage to take them out, but that's perfectly fine with me. I'm happy to let the Sceptile go down, and what I'm actually going to do is come in with my Shadow Banette, go for a very aggressive farm down here if possible, although looking at the Shadow Claw damage I don't think it's quite going to work out for me. So the opponent's going to swap out there, they swap back into Cofagrigus. I'm going to go for that Shadow Ball straight away, taking out the Cofagrigus, and let's see, the opponent's going to come back in with the Dunsparce. I'm going to swap into my Zoroark. I couldn't remember which side my charge moves are on. I think this is one of my first battles, but I take out the Dunsparce. They've got a Shadow Hypno in the back. I can go for the Foul Play, and this Foul Play is going to nearly one-shot the Shadow Hypno there. I'm able to Shadow Claw, farm them down, and take that game. So you can see why the opponent was reluctant to swap out of that lead matchup is because they also had a Hypno in the back. But here we're now seeing Hypno in the lead. The opponent swaps into Meganium. We are running Sludge Bomb, and Sludge Bomb gonna do massive damage to Meganium. I'm able to fully Shadow Claw, farm them down, and the opponent's gonna come in with a Ninetales. Now, I don't really have a good response to Ninetales, so I'm going to go for a Foul Play and then swap into my Shadow Banette. Now, they will be able to outpace me to a charge move quite comfortably here, so I'm going to use one shield. I don't really want to use both my shields in this matchup, so what I'm going to do is go for a Shadow Ball here, and then I'm just happy to let the Shadow Banette go down. So going to let the Weather Ball go through, it does take me out, and even though I'm weak to fire, I'm actually going to come in with my Sceptile just because I know that the Zoroark has such a dominant matchup up against that Hypno. So I'm going to go for the Leaf Blade from this range. A Leaf Blade will be enough to take out the Ninetales. I come back in with the Zoroark. The opponent is going to basically give up here. Let me get to the Foul Play, and Foul Play will be taking out the Hypno, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, we see another Cofagrigus in the lead. If you're wondering why I'm putting all the good leads at the start, it's just how I found that a lot of the matchups were against Cofagrigus or Hypno in the lead, which is why I was running Zoroark. But here the opponent swaps into Dragonair. We barely make it to a second Foul Play, and it looks like a CMP tie as well. We barely don't take them out there, but I'm fine with that. I'm happy to let Zoroark go down. We've dealt a lot of damage so far. I actually come in with my Sceptile here, knowing I'll get a nice 2 Bullet Seeds in before farming them down. They do just barely outpace me to a charge move, but that's fine with me. I shield up the Dark Pulse, gonna go for 3 Bullet Seeds, go for a Leaf Blade, and from this range, they should be very close to being KO'd here. It doesn't quite take them out, so I swap into Banette, get the snipe, and they've got a Shadow Machamp in the back, and this should be a very comfortable matchup here. No reason for me to throw. They're also just gonna go for a Cross Chop. I can let that go through and go for a full Shadow Claw farm down, taking out the Machamp, and I'm able to take that game. So into the next battle, we see Shadow Machamp in the lead. So I'm going to say swap into Sceptile, and this is actually really bad here. So I know I'm going to lose CMP, so I go for the extra Bullet Seed, but I'm actually not going to be able to make it to 2 Leaf Blades in time, which is actually crazy in this matchup. We go for Leaf Blade number 1, hoping I get the new mechanic, but I don't. And for those of you wondering what the new mechanic is, in that scenario there, I should typically get the Leaf Blade off with the new mechanic, as it should allow me to prioritize throwing a charge move over fast move damage, but in that scenario it doesn't work out for me, and I do end up going down with the Leaf Blade stored. But here we're going to go for a Shadow Ball into the Ninetales, and I'm going to swap into my Zoroark. I should just about live a Weather Ball and make it to a charge move in time, but it's going to be incredibly close. We do get to the foul play. How much damage is a foul play going to do to the Ninetales? It nearly takes them out. We get the Shadow Claw farm down, and what do they have in the back? They've got a Vigoroth. Now this is looking pretty rough here. They can't go for Body Slam. It's double resisted. We make it to a Dazzling Gleam on the CMP tie with the Bulldoze, and Dazzling Gleam doesn't quite take them out there. That is so close. That was so much damage, but the Bulldoze will take out my Shadow Banette, and I do unfortunately lose that game. But GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, another Cofagrigus, so this is great to see, and once again the opponent is staying in this matchup. They go to swap and catch a move here onto Vigoroth, but Vigoroth isn't a fighting type, so it doesn't tank that foul play very well. I'm now going to come in with my Shadow Sceptile here, and it's still not the best matchup really, because I can't really Bullet Seed farm them down, or if I do, I'm going to have to commit both shields here. So I go for the Leaf Blade just as they make it to another Body Slam, and they do throw straight away, and now because I get a free Bullet Seed through, I will actually be able to fully Bullet Seed, farm down Vigoroth, come out with a ton of energy loaded. So let's see, the opponent comes back in with the Cofagrigus. It does make sense. We go for that Leaf Blade, and that does so much damage. We've nearly got 2 more Leaf Blades loaded. We go for the second one. That does grab a shield. I swap back into Zoroark. They've got Umbreon in the back, and now this is looking quite tricky here. We go for a Sludge Bomb, and Sludge Bomb doesn't really do an awful lot of damage to the Umbreon, but they're over farming, and that allows me to get to a foul play. Now that doesn't look like it's that significant because foul play is resisted, but now I'm just one fast move away from a Leaf Blade on my Sceptile. So if they don't throw straight away here, which they don't, that will allow me to get to a Leaf Blade. They actually went for the full farm down, and Leaf Blade now takes out the Umbreon. I'm able to swap into Banette, snipe them before they can react, and I'm able to take out the Cofagrigus, which I do believe did have a charge move loaded, but they just didn't have the reaction time there to go and throw the charge move into Banette, so I'm able to take that game. But into the next battle, we see another Shadow Claw user with a Berserker, but we do win CMP. Zoroark, like I said, very attack weighted. They go straight for the close combat, so these Shadow Claws are absolutely chunking. They do eventually swap into a Alomomola, and we can come in with our Shadow Sceptile. Now, Leaf Blade is only a 35 energy charge move, but it will do so much damage to the Alomomola. Unfortunately, they do just barely hang on. They get to a Psychic, and that nearly one-shots me. I have to go for a charge move, otherwise we will simultaneously KO. So that is actually quite shocking from the Sceptile there. That is, yeah, that's quite poor. And now they come in with the Berserker. They are just one fast move away from another charge move, so once again, winning the CMP tie. Foul play does take out the Berserker, but they've got a Gramble in the back, and yeah, there's not a lot I can do up against a one-shielded Gramble. This team is incredibly glassy, and you're going to see now what happens when we do face Gramble. It's pretty much always an instant loss. Obviously, it's not the best team that I've ever put together, and you can see with the Banette from full health, it doesn't even reach a Shadow Ball up against Shadow Gramble. And yeah, it's basically the same thing. We're going to just die here. They're going to go for the close combat, which takes me out. Even Crunch would have taken me out there, and they do just get the farm down. And just one more example in case you're wondering, oh, maybe it's just a fluke that they won twice in a row, but here they are going to wait out the switch clock, come in with the Gramble, and I'm just going to instantly quit there. So yeah, obviously not a great team that I've put together, but it is still fun to use. And into the next battle, we see Viper in the lead. Gonna go for a foul play on the CMP tie with a Poison Fang, but the opponent catches it perfectly onto Umbreon. So very nice play by this opponent. I'm gonna come in with my Shadow Sceptile, not throwing on CMP here, and they go for a foul play. I can now overfarm just a bit in this matchup, go for a Leaf Blade, and a second Leaf Blade will be enough damage to take out the Umbreon. From this range, I throw on the CMP tie, and this Leaf Blade does actually grab a shield from the opponent, so I'm actually fine with that. I'm going to let the Sceptile go down. Foul play does take me out, and now I can come back in with my Zoroark, and I will be able to make it to a foul play just about in time. And even though it's resisted from this range, it will be enough damage to take out the Umbreon. They come back in with Viper. I'm going to shield this up. Probably a Poison Fang, but it could be a Crunch, and it is actually the Crunch, although they get their defense drop anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference. Going to shield this up again. It could be another Crunch, and it is the Crunch, so I'm glad I shielded shielded there. They come in with a Registeel. We've got so much loaded energy. I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball, and the Shadow Ball does so much damage to Registeel. You'd think it was super effective. We make it to another Shadow Ball, and I believe this is actually a CMP tie, which is perfect. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. We don't need to throw any more charge moves, but Focus Blast, double resisted, takes us out. We get the Shadow Claw farm down, and then we Shadow Claw farm down Viper, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, we see Shadow Registeel in the lead, and we are going to stay in this matchup initially, go for a foul play straight away, throwing just before they make it to a Focus Blast, and then eventually I'm going to swap into my Shadow Banette after they do throw a charge move. Of course, we have to shield anything, even if they go for Zap Cannon, that's still probably going to take us out. We swap into Shadow Banette, we're going for the farm down, and we get the farm down before they even make it to a charge move, so that's definitely a misplay by the opponent. I think they thought they must have been able to make it to a charge move, but they were wrong, and we get a massive farm down. And now at this point, I'm happy to let Banette go down. We did grab a shield back very early on with our Banette, and now we can come in with the Sceptile. They're going to be 6 Fairy Winds away from the next Meteor Mash, so I'm going to go for 4 Bullet Seeds, throwing on the CMP tie, and Leaf Blade will be taking out the Clefable from this range. They've got a Hypno in the back, and that's going to be game over for the opponent. They recognize that, and they do just concede the match. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, we see Mew in the lead, so a pretty good lead matchup once again. I'm not going to throw straight away just because I don't want them to try and catch. I'm going to shield this up, could be a Wild Charge. It is the Wild Charge, that would do so much damage. They swap into Shadow Machamp, and because they swap out straight away, I'm actually not going to be able to get to a charge move before they get to our Rock Slide, so I do have to use a shield, but I do get the full farm down. And if they come back in with Mew, I think I should be able to make it to 2 Shadow Balls. I want to charge this just in case they no shielded, as I would get a small amount of energy by farming them down, but they do shield it up. I make it to Shadow Ball number 2, and I'm going to try to be smart here and catch a blind Wild Charge onto my Sceptile. The opponent does throw their energy. I don't think it's enough for a Flame Charge, so it is the Wild Charge, and they come in with a Ninetales, but unfortunately I was too low to make it to an Earthquake, so I swap into my Zoroark, go for the foul play, but we don't make it to the second foul play in time, and that is really bad for me. Now I will be able to make it to a Leaf Blade, but that one Fire Spin did so much damage, and it puts me into range where this Mew will just be able to fully Shadow Claw, farm me down, and I do lose that game. So I definitely think I misplayed there. I think I should have been able to win that if I played a bit cleaner, but unfortunately not. So GG's to that opponent, very well played. Into the next battle, we see Machamp in the lead, gonna swap into Sceptile, and the opponent does bank a ton of energy and swap into Cofagrigus, but we've got a huge energy advantage already, so we can go for a second Leaf Blade straight away, throwing before they get off the Dark Pulse, and the opponent just lets Cofagrigus go down, so I'm absolutely fine with that. Gonna come in with my Shadow Banette. I will shield this up, could be anything, could be a Rock Slide, could be a Payback. They bait with a Cross Chop, but they throw straight away, so I'm thinking this might just be another Cross Chop, and it is, so we can easily let that go through. Gonna commit to the full farm down. They make it to another Cross Chop, I assume, so I will just let this go through, and we do get the farm down. They come in with Registeel, once again, gonna go straight for that Shadow Ball, and the opponent lets it go through. I'm gonna farm up a ton of energy, swap, banking a Shadow Ball. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. I'm not gonna have to throw another charge move. We can fully commit to Shadow Claw, farming down the Registeel from this range, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, we see Zoroark into Double, and this is going to be the Yonkers team here. Double, Shadow Muck, and Grimer. We're going to go for the Earthquake here. Do they know about the Earthquake? Yes, unfortunately they do, which is not great, as they're able to fully farm me down, and they do have a lot of energy. So what I'm going to do is just come in with my Zoroark, knowing that it's not going to do too well up against the Double. I'm hoping that I will at least live a Thunder Punch and make it to a foul play, but I'm not able to do so, and I think I've just lost the game already. There's not really a lot I can do here, so I'm going to go and commit to the full Shadow Claw farm down, but they should make it to another Thunder Punch in time, and they do, so I'm going to have to double shield here. I don't see a win condition for me, especially since they don't even let me get the farm down. They swap straight away into Grimer. We go for the Shadow Ball. It does connect. It one-shots them, and now my only play is this. If for whatever reason they let this move go through, but the opponent is going to shield up the Dazzling Gleam, of course, and now they can easily go for a Payback. Payback will easily one-shot the Banette, and I do lose that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.